in my eyes, in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, in my life. I have been searching for something, but you were my dream. You're perfect, you're golden, golden. You're the light, your love. You're perfect, you're golden. You're the light, my love. When I breathe, when I swallow, caress I feel. When I listen, I hear the most beautiful music out of nowhere. You're perfect, you're golden. You're my light, my love. You're perfect, you're golden. You're my light, my love, my love. Light-it-light-it-light-it-light. Light-it-light-it-light-it-light. When I'm sad and dark, shallow and in doubt. When I'm trying my best to put one foot in front of the other. You're perfect, you're golden. perfect, you're golden.
Without a warning, without a sound, we woke up one morning to a world turned upside down. Everything changed in the blink of an eye, dealing with the unknown and trying to survive. We were locked down in our homes, surrounded by bad news every day, watching our lives as we knew it quickly fade away. And when this is all over, in our new reality, when we gather together, will we still stay apart 6 feet? Will the music be playing like it did before? When this is all over, I'll treasure each day even more. We've been through quite a battle, like none we've ever seen. We kept hoping we'd wake up to find out it was all a bad dream. But that day's never come. It'll be a while yet, with more obstacles to overcome and challenges to be met. We were locked down in our homes, surrounded by bad news every day, watching our lives as we knew it quickly fade away. And when this is all over, in our new reality, when we gather together, will we still stay apart 6 feet? Will the music be playing like it did before? When this is all over, I'll treasure each day even more. We were locked down in our homes, surrounded by bad news every day, watching our lives as we knew it quickly fade away. And when this is all over, in our new reality, when we gather together, will we still stay apart 6 feet? Will the music be playing like it did before? When this is all over, I'll treasure each day even more. And when this is all over, I'll treasure each day even more.
supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, yeah.
Hello and welcome to the People of Diversity Sunday Service. We are a multi-faith community and we believe that there are many paths to one divinity. So what does that mean for you sitting at the house, perhaps watching with us on a Sunday morning or watching a playback on the People of Diversity Facebook page or on the YouTube page? We have 10 different faith perspectives. We have 8, looking for 2 more, musical acts or artists, all of a positive nature, and we give each of those groups a single word topic at the beginning of each series. So responsibility, worship, whatever it might be. And that's it. And they come back with a talk if they're the speaker and 2 videos if they're the musician. And Becky and I say hello and goodbye. And Philip or his team magically put it together into a flawless presentation every Sunday morning.
Sunday.
It's magical. It's amazing that he can pull it off. If you would like to join us in this chaos/wonder, you can do that at www.peopleofdiversity.org. There's a donate button in the middle of the page. Yes? Or the top of the page?
Middle of the page.
Middle of the page. And if you hit on that, you can join us weekly in a tithe, donation, gift, offering, whatever word works for you, or set up a monthly tithe, or just a one-time shot, whatever Spirit has you moving to do today.
Last week we had Swami Dumavati, gave a great talk on responsibility, and her musical accompaniment was Andrew Bentham Riley. Today is our last week in our series on responsibility, and I'm really looking forward to hearing our New Thought representative, Reverend Sue Bailey, my dear sister. And her musical accompaniment is Victor Morgado. So next week we begin a new topic, and it is worship. And I'll have to say that Scott and I cheated, and we went over to Will Davis's house. He's our Native American representative, and recorded his talk, and you are in for a treat. It's really, really good. So next week will be Native American Will Davis, and music from Daniel Capel.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah, it'll be good. It's really good. Past services are available at the People of Diversity Facebook group or Facebook page. You can go on there and see, if you're looking just for the one that we just did, it's pinned to the top of the page, or you can go back and look at the old ones on there. Also, we have a People of Diversity YouTube channel that broadcasts the service on Sunday mornings, and also has a feature where you can go back and look in their playlists, so you can search on a topic. Say you want to search on responsibility, and get all the talks from all the speakers on responsibility to come up. Or you can search on a specific faith. Say you want to hear all the Native American talks on everything, and pull just those up in that way. So it's really cool. So check that out. Every Sunday morning after the morning service from 11:45 until 12:15, we do a live Zoom deep dive. Very often the speaker can join us. Sue often does when she can, and it's just a chance to see each other live on Zoom, and we talk and ask questions and discuss the message. We also rebroadcast on Facebook Live at 5:45 p.m. on Sunday evenings, so you can watch it again, or send somebody, if you see something on Sunday morning that you really liked, send somebody you know back. And very often we watch it a second time. It's amazing what you get out of it watching it twice. It's easy to get Facebook notifications about our services. All you have to do is go to the People of Diversity Facebook group, Facebook page, ask to join, and we'll let you in. And on Sunday, you will get a little ding, and all you have to do is press the button, and it'll take you right to the service. So, each week we bless a country. So if you know anything about the country that we're blessing next week, send me stuff. We'll use it in our country blessing. You can send it to the email address below. And next week our country is Latvia. This week our country is Laos. Laos is a landlocked country in mainland Southeast Asia. It's about the size of Utah, has 7.5 million people. It is 67% Buddhist. Yes. Thank you. 67% Buddhist, 30% with indigenous beliefs, and a lot of those people practice both, and 3% Christian. It is one of the world's 5 remaining socialist countries. It was taken over by communists in 1975. This is a really disturbing fact. Laos is the world's most bombed country. The United States dropped over 2 billion tons of bombs in Laos during the Vietnam War, which is more than all of the bombs dropped in Europe during World War II. An estimated 30% of the dropped bombs did not explode, so much of the land has live munitions on it, and the land is unusable. And at least 20,000 people have been killed or injured by bombs that were left behind. It's very disturbing, especially the United States part. Mm-hmm. So, there is an official nationwide midnight curfew, but it's not really too strictly enforced on people, but mostly on businesses. So, if you have a business, you're expected to close up at midnight regardless. 70% of the population is under 30 years old. Laos is a rather poor country, but conditions are improving. The poverty rate has been cut in half in the last 20 years. Part of this is because Laos provides hydroelectric power to several neighboring countries, and tourism is the fastest growing industry. In fact, Scott reminded me we have a very good friend who is visiting Vietnam and Laos right now as we speak. She's been posting on Facebook. It's very beautiful and
amazingly beautiful.
Yeah, and so tourism is the fastest growing industry. And this is our last fact. A very popular tourist site is called the Field of Jars. It's an archaeological area with thousands of large stone jars just thrown all around. Some of them are in pieces and some of them are still whole. But that site dates back to 1200 to 1000 BC. And no one is sure what the jars were used for, but they suspect it had something to do with some sort of burial ritual. So very, very interesting place. So let's hold the people of Laos in our hearts, knowing they want the same things in their lives that we want in ours. They want peace. They want serenity. They want their land to be free and usable. They want our love and our good thoughts. So let's hold these people in our hearts and say these words together. May peace prevail in Laos. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in me. Okay, thank you.
All right, Victor Morgado will bring us 2 songs. And Reverend Sue Bailey will bring, I'm sure, one of her amazing signature talks. I love her voice. It gets into my heart. So sit back, open up, and we'll see you on the other side.
How many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas
beds of sail, for she sleeps in the sand. And how many times must the cannonballs fly for the fall of a band? Oh, the answer, my friend, blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many years the mountain exists, for it's washed to the sea? And how many years some people exist, for they're allowed to be free? And how many times did man turn his head, pretending he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. How many times can a man look up, for he can't see the sky? And how many years does one man have, for he can't hear people crying? How many deaths will it take till he knows too many people have died? Well, the answer, my friend, blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. I gave way to temptation. I was swayed by my need to feel excitation of a wrong, wicked deed. Now I face accusations of grand larceny. So I seek salvation from this edge. I will bleed, and I'm begging for a second chance. Do you have one to give? And I'm begging for a second chance. Do you give? Took the path least resistance. Time lost the race. Now I have that I may run another day. I'm begging for a second chance. Do you have one to give? I'm begging for a second chance. Do you forgive? I don't have good excuse that I can use by the fans. Simply I was so seduced by my gain at your expense. And now I turn, face the music to the pull of a broken chord, and if a reprise by the illusion, then who am I singing for? I'm begging second chance. You have one to give. I'm begging for a second chance. Do you forgive?
Before there was anything, there was God. A few angels and a huge swirling blob of rocks and water. And the angels asked God, why don't you clean up this mess? And God said, good idea. I don't have anything to do for 4 or 5 days. I think I'll just do something about this mess. And so God collected the rocks from this huge swirling blob, and he put some of them together in clumps. And he said, well, some of these clumps are going to be, of these rocks are going to be planets, and some are going to be stars, and some are going to be comets and asteroids, and some of them are just going to be rocks. And the next day he collected water from this huge swirling blob, and he put it together, and he said, some of these are going to be pools of water, and some will be oceans, and some will be lakes, and some will be clouds, and some of it is just going to be water. And the angels, commented, well, this is a lot neater now than it was, but is it finished? And he said, no, because he had begun to create a particularly beautiful planet. And so he started growing things and creepy things and animals and all these things that are beautiful and make up our world. And so the angel said, well, is the world finished now? And he said, nope. And he decided that he would make a man and woman, and he gathered up some water and some dust, and he said to them, I'm tired now. Please finish up the world for me. Really, it's almost done. And the man and the woman said, we can't finish the world by ourselves. You have all the plans, and we're too little to do it. And he said, no, you're plenty big enough. But I'll tell you what. If you keep trying to finish the world, I'll be your partner. And the man and woman asked, what's a partner? And God said, a partner is someone you work with to accomplish something that neither of you could do alone. If you have a partner, it means that you can never give up because your partner's depending on you. And on the days that you think I'm not doing enough, and on the days that you're not doing enough, even on those days, we're still partners. and we must not stop trying to finish the world. That's the deal. Well, they all agreed to the deal. And the angels asked God, so is the world finished yet? And God said, I don't know. Go ask my partners. We are all responsible to be God's partner in this ongoing creation of the world. It's the price we pay to have this beautiful life here on this planet. So the battleship Maine drifted lazily at its moorings in the harbor of the Havana, Cuba, Havana, Cuba. And in the last 3 weeks that the Maine had been there hadn't been any sign of Cuban rebels. A month earlier, the battleship had been sent there by the American government to protect American interests. But suddenly, on this quiet, peaceful evening, there was an explosion, a bursting, a crashing roar of immense volume, largely metallic in character. There was a trembling and a lurching motion of the vessel and this intense black smoke. And the situation could not be mistaken. The Maine had blown up and was sinking. It was February 1898 when the American battleship, the Maine, exploded in the harbor at Havana, Cuba. There were 354 men on board. 266 lost their lives in the explosion. Immediately, the newspapers started to print "Remember the Maine." A Spanish mine was blamed for the explosion of the ship, and the whole country was shouting the battle cry, "Remember the Maine." And soon we were engaged in the Spanish-American War, which became a catalyst for years of warring. In 1911, 13 years later, the truth of what happened to the Maine was discovered. 20,000 pounds of gunpowder inside the boat had exploded. There was no Spanish mine. But at the time, people were too war crazed to look for any real cause. A lot of wars have been like this. Personal wars that we fought within ourselves, wars between governments and leaders and between nations and friends and families. The righteous assumptions. We have troops all around the world still left behind, of showing us, all the wars that we've been in, and that's not even all of them. So how many of these wars were simply the result of making mistaken assumptions and our desire to blame, control, and project our anger on others? Unfortunately, the explosion of the Maine was immediately picked up by the media and politicians and used to create a war that really had long been brewing. All they needed was a justifiable reason to declare that war. Justification for our own misplaced anger and frustrations, our need to blame someone for our pain and suffering, and our fear that everyone else, this is important, is as angry and blaming as we are. If we were not afraid that other people were like us, willing to go to war like we are at times, willing to kill like we are at times, willing to find any excuse to blame like we are at times, there wouldn't be any reason to fear them, would there? But unfortunately, we have forgotten who our real partner in life is, who our partner in the future of this planet is. I feel certain that this is not what God intended for its partners to do to finish the story of planet Earth. Every war begins within us, not out there, always within here. So where does the responsibility for war live? Whose responsibility is it to create a peaceful world? Every one of us are responsible for the state of our lives and the world around us. When we see small children warring with each other, we never jump in. At least any sane person never jumps in and encourages them to slug it out, to hit and punch each other harder. We don't encourage them to take each other's toys and destroy them. We don't tell them that the other child is worthless, in danger, and doesn't deserve to live. Then why do we do it with adults and other nations? Because along the way, yes, we were taught those things to some degree. It's part of being socialized by an ideology that someone must dominate someone else, that we are all in competition instead of partners with the same God. Children have been taught racial prejudice, hate for those who aren't like themselves, unsustainable and competitive consumerism, religious, divides. And unfortunately, all of us to some degree are now sort of dead to our higher selves, or at least half dead to our true divine selves, and we must take responsibility. It's time now to die instead to our learned preferences for domination so that we can live in the light that we were created in. Sadly, we're already diseased to a degree that we have been socialized in these patterns of injustice. And the beauty of our true selves disappears little by little as we take actions and have thoughts and beliefs that are opposed to our true and higher selves. This disease turns deadly when we own alienation of ourselves. So we die a little more each time we grow to love our bondage, to rationalize, justify, and even champion it. We die a little as we put our small selves in the place of our higher selves. And so this is kind of insidious, isn't it? Because to say that we love our bondage, well, we do. We often do. And we do rationalize away our own bad behavior and justify our own bad behavior. And sometimes we even brag about our own bad behavior. So now we must take responsibility to heal whatever in our social surroundings has shaped us inauthentically. We must heal such things as racism, faults, patriotism, greed, homophobia. In other words, we must transform the system of oppression and domination within us in order to live authentically and be God's partners on earth. We need to heal from the expectations and limitations of a patriarchal society. We must heal what has already diseased us. Often this means healing our private egos and the ego of American imperialism. Healing one's own ego is just another form of false spirituality unless it involves letting go of the powers that we worship outside of us. So this has always been disturbing to me. It's been the most disturbing thing to me about Christianity. This sort of split personality, good Christian, totally for war, good Christian, don't care about the poor, or their prejudice, all that stuff. It's impossible to be aligned with any system of domination and think you are also part of Jesus's worldview. At that point, you are only in conflict with your partner, and your diseased ego is running the show. But we will never free ourselves from the powers of this system by defeating it by an attack. And so this idea that we are partners in creation of the world was one of the main things that Jesus came and said to us over and over, and kind of said, and this is how you do it. This is the right way to do it. And he says in Luke, if you cling to your life, you will lose it. And if you let your life go, you will save it. In other words, if you cling to all of this stuff that is a lie, you won't have the life and the light and with your partner anymore. But if you let all that go, then you will have saved your life in the sense that then you can become that love and that light. We're not liberated ever by lashing out at what enslaves us, because lashing out shows that we are still controlled by violence. but we're liberated by our willingness to die to it rather than submit to it. And this is creative. You know, every circumstance changes over time, laws change, things change, circumstances change. And this is exactly what Gandhi did and taught. Die rather than submit to the powers. And he changed the lives of millions by freeing them from a system of domination. Most people simply dismiss Jesus's teachings about non-violence as idealistic. Because when he says turning the other cheek, for many people, it implies doormat-like behavior. Or when he says resist not evil, this seems to imply that we must submit to the unjust. Going the extra mile has come to mean nothing more than extend yourself, and it appears to encourage submission and oppression. Jesus's teachings viewed this way are impractical, patriarchal, suicidal, an invitation to bullying, spouse abuse, child abuse, animal abuse. He never displayed this kind of passivity. And let me remind you of what he said in Matthew. You have heard the law that says the punishment must match the injury, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek rather than the other, offer the other also. If you are sued in court and your shirt is taken away from you, give your coat too. If a soldier demands that you carry his gear for a mile, carry it for 2 miles. Now, if you take the time and you really study this, this is one of the most revolutionary political social statements ever said. Traditionally, the interpretation of do not resist an evildoer has been non-resistance to evil. An unusual conclusion, considering that Jesus himself resisted evil with every fiber of his being. The gospel does not teach non-resistance to evil. Jesus teaches resistance, but without violence. The Greek word resist, it literally means stand against. Jesus is not telling us to submit to evil. He is telling us not to let the oppressor dictate how we're going to act, how we will oppose that evil. He's urging us to use neither passivity or violence, but to find a third way, one that is assertive and still nonviolent. And above all, do not act violently against violence. So let's look at this idea. If anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other one also. If you're going to strike someone on the right cheek, what you have to understand is that you're going to have to use, your left hand. Back in the day, the left hand was considered unclean, still is in many countries and cultures. And to gesture with the left hand was punishable by exclusion from religious meetings or penance. So the only way to hit the right cheek was with the right hand, which means it's a backhand. The backhand isn't a blow to injure. It is always a blow to insult and humiliate and degrade. It's not used on an equal, but on an inferior. Masters backhanded their slaves. Husbands backhanded their wives. Parents backhanded their children. Romans backhanded the Jews. The whole point is to put someone in their place. Jesus was telling them at the time, is telling us now, refuse to accept this kind of treatment. If anyone backhands you, turn the other cheek, because by turning the other cheek, the servant has made it impossible for the master to use his backhand again. Instead, the cheek becomes the perfect target for a blow with the right fist. But, and you don't have this in front of you, it's probably hard to picture, but just think about this. So, but only equals fought with their fists. So by hitting someone unequal with a fist makes them equal. So this act of defiance stopped a master from asserting his dominance in this way. So by turning the other cheek, the inferior person, or the one being treated as an inferior person, says, I'm a human being just like you. And I refuse to be humiliated any longer I'm your equal. I'm a child of God. I won't take it anymore. So don't misunderstand. This defiance is not about avoiding trouble, because most likely more trouble will come. But the point has been made. And once the point is made over and over and over, and we've seen it in our own society, something changes. The second example of assertive nonviolence takes place in court. If you're sued in court and your shirt is taken from you, give your coat to. So indebtedness was kind of a plague in first century Palestine of a lot of people barely struggling to survive, heavy debt, and Roman imperial policy. So only the poorest were taken to court by a creditor for unpaid loans. Only the poorest were subjected to such treatment. The law was that a creditor could take as collateral for a loan the poor person's outer robe, but it had to be returned to them every evening so that the poor person would have something to sleep in. Now, Jesus was not advising people to add to their suffering by renouncing, justice altogether, as it sounds like. He's telling impoverished debtors who have nothing left but the clothes on their backs to use the system against itself. So why would he tell them to give up their undergarments? Well, it would mean stripping off all their clothing in public, in court, and marching out naked. And nakedness obviously was a taboo, but the shame fell less on the naked person than on a person being viewed as causing the nakedness. So by stripping, the debtor brought shame on the creditor. Imagine the creditor with the poor debtor's outer garments in one hand and inner undergarments in the other hand, and the tables have suddenly been turned. He has no way of winning because the law is really now on the debtor's side. But the poor man has transcended this attempt to humiliate. He's risen above shame, and at the same time he declared his protest against the system which created his debt. He's making the statements. Now you have all I have. What are you going to do next? What are you going to take from me next? He leaves the court naked. His friends and his neighbors are shocked, needless to say. And then he starts explaining the situation. And the entire system is publicly exposed. And the creditor is revealed to be not a legitimate moneylender, but part of a system that's destructive and trying to ruin an entire social class. It's this unmasking is not simply about humiliation, but it offers the creditor a chance to see, maybe for the first time in his life, what his practices cause and possibly to change. And the third example, my favorite one, if a soldier demands that you carry his gear for a mile, carry for 2. In Palestine at the time, the Roman soldiers were allowed to demand any citizen to carry their packs 1 mile. What most of us don't know is that it was only 1 mile. And if the commander discovered that someone had been forced to carry their pack further, then the soldier himself might be put on food rations or flogged, or some other punishment might happen to him. So why carry the pack a second mile? Because this is how the oppressed can claim their human dignity in the situation that can not for now be changed. Normally, soldiers had to coerce people into carrying their packs, but suddenly this Jew cheerfully won't stop carrying it. Imagine how this might throw the soldier off, wondering what's happening, why is he doing this, what does he want, will he file a complaint, am I going to be in trouble? The oppressed, once again, have taken back their power of choice, and the officer must make a decision for which he has no previous experience to prepare him for. If he once enjoyed feeling superior, he won't in this moment. So imagine the Roman soldier pleading with this Jew to give him his pack back. Jesus did not encourage the Jews to walk the second mile, or, because it was going to build up merit in heaven, or to be pious, or to kill the soldier with kindness. He was teaching people how to change the situation of their oppression, to neutralize the power of this system of domination. He was building a foundation really for worldly spirituality in which people at the bottom of society or under the thumb of oppression can learn how to recover their humanity. People of the time were used to this, and they wanted to be free. And Jesus showed them a way to take responsibility for their dignity and recover their humanity, even in the conditions that they were in. And he also used this illustration. The kingdom of heaven is like the yeast a woman used in making bread. Even though she put only in a little yeast of flour, it permeated every part of the dough. To an oppressed people, Jesus was saying, don't give in to your oppression. Don't react violently either. Rather, find a third way, a creative way, a way that is neither submission or assault, a way that can secure your human dignity, and honestly, a way to be a partner with God. There's something important about this third way. People have to take responsibility. They can't actually break the law, because breaking the law, we can't have a lawless society. So it has to be creative. Life is unbearable without laws. I believe our responsibility in life is to follow the example of Jesus and refuse to ever obey unjust laws. Jesus knew who our partner was and is and always will be. He showed us how to access the creative power of that partner to make a world a better place by undergoing the legal system's punishment if we must, but we affirm our willingness to suffer on behalf of something higher. The idea of give to Caesar what is Caesar's and God what is God's. One of the great things about consciously partnering with God is that it can be taught to anybody, any age, perfect for frightened, fed up, and oppressed, anybody who wants change. And at first glance, we might think that, having an army do our bidding is a smart way to solve a problem. And that it might feel smart if you're not in the army. But why would we use that as our way of solving problems when we have this partner who can continue to supply us with creative ways from a higher consciousness and help us turn the world into such a greater place? The ultimate goal of the third way is not a victory over an enemy, but a transformation that only love can bring. It invites miracles. Our commitment to seeing all human beings as our divine partners will help forever erase battle cries like "Remember the Maine." I believe we've lost sight of Jesus's message to us, of what he showed us to do and how to be, how he showed us to partner with God. Following Jesus isn't all love, light, and flowers. It's a commitment to something greater in us and around us. It's taking a stand for what's right every time. It's our responsibility to know the truth that sets humanity free and to love our neighbors and to love ourselves. It's not always easy to partner with God and stand for the justice of all people, the planet, and every living creature. But if you want to consider yourself a partner with God and follow Jesus by living by the divine power within you, you will have to take responsibility to make that true. Will you be responsible and partner with God, or will you just continue this war of inside and out? Are we willing to create the opening for love and miracles? We have not been so great at this partnership up to this point, but today's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day. And it's time that we took our full responsibility and partner with God. Blessings. I know I've gone a little bit over today, but I do want to just take a minute and have us close our eyes and just breathe into that idea of a divine partnership. We're never alone. We're never unable. We're never not in this partnership. All things that we need to create the world on this planet that we want to live in are all right here with us all the time. So I want you to put your hands on your heart I want you to take a few deep breaths. And just really feel that heart space. And I want you to think of something wonderful in your life, something that makes your heart feel expansive, makes your face break into a smile, something you love. And I just want you to let that feeling just permeate through your entire being. That feeling is a gift that comes from your partnership with God. Everything about this life that is beautiful and loving and kind and creative and joyful is that partnership manifest. And so we say thank you for this amazing journey that we call life. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Victor. Amazing as build. I was just in Canada, and unfortunately, we did not get a chance to connect. But hopefully, on the next visit. Thank you again, my friend, Reverend Sue. Thank you. It just does my heart good to connect in with your message, with your voice. Yeah, it just does my heart good. Thank you so much. Philip Lupo, the man behind the curtain. Thank you, Philip, for taking our, what was it, 3 takes today? And all of the different videos from different places each week, week in and week out, and just making it this wonderful, beautiful thing that we can put out there to the world. And thanks, man.
And I just want to give a shout out, because we always say thank you to Philip and his team, but his primary team is Diego. So
Right.
go, man. Thank you.
Yes, thanks,
Never met
guys.
you, but I've got a whole lot of respect. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for all that you do.
Right.
We are grateful. Following the morning service from 11:45 to 12:15, we do a deep dive. That's on Zoom, so we can see eye to eye and connect and visit and ask questions. And sometimes the speaker joins us. Other times we just banter about the talk between ourselves. We have a second live presentation, live because Philip makes it so, at 5:45 each Sunday night. You can come back and check out or rewatch or send a friend back to. And that's also the one that we pinned to the top of the page and the group on Facebook. The morning service from the YouTube is already posted. It's already part of the YouTube channel, and you can go there and visit that at any time. Next week begins our topic on worship. Our Native American representative, Will Davis, is doing the talk, and we will have music from Daniel Cable. I think that's all I know.
If you would like to help support this amazing thing that People of Diversity is doing here and the ripples we're creating, go to www.peopleofdiversity.org and make a donation. We pay our speakers, we pay our musicians, we pay Philip and his team, and so everything that you do is very, very helpful, and we appreciate it immensely. So let's just take a moment and take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you so choose. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for everything that the pod is and that the pod does. We are so appreciative of everyone that is involved in this, all of our speakers, our musicians, and our technical team, and especially all of the people that tune in and watch and send their love and participate either in person or through their spirits and in our circles and things. So we are so very grateful, and we say amen.
Amen.
All right, last thing, our energetic healing circle. This is how y'all participate. If you everything is energy. So just open up your hearts, open your thoughts. Put anybody into the middle of this circle that needs some love and some healing. Any situation, our world, there you could think of probably 15 things easily in just a minute to put in the middle to help heal the world that we're in right now. I would love to throw the people of Laos into the circle and almost ask for their forgiveness for the things that they've been through. And we're going to listen to this last song. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the deep dive or tonight on Facebook Live at 5:45, or we will see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye now.
Bye.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of